Good morning, Jim.
Hey, morning, Andrew.
They,
How are things on the East Coast there, buddy?
they are fabulous and rainy. They said they said it couldn't be done. They said we would never last, but we have made it to mailbag number three.
Mailbag number three.
Number three.
Hard,
We're trying. Go ahead.
it's hard to believe we've come so far.
So far,
Three mailbags.
three. We will imagine the celebration we'll have at 10. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's
Right.
see what the questions.
Are there long-term negative effects to taking Sudafed during allergy season? And I assume this question, by the way, means something where you're taking it daily, every day. It's a real part of your diet kind of thing.
Yeah, you got it. The answer is yes. That is Sudafed is not a medication engineered for long-term use. And this is a medication. Remember, there was a time, once upon a time, Andrew, when we were in, Montpelier, Vermont, together, however many years ago that was. You could buy Sudafed over the counter. That was something you could pop into a Walgreens and just and grab whenever you wanted. And then they decided to move that behind the pharmacy counter. You need a prescription from a physician for certain dosages of Sudafed, because they found out that there's a lot of problems with Sudafed. Now, in a short-term phase, you have a flare-up of your allergies, or you need to get by for a week, or you have something going on up in your sinuses with the approval of a primary care doctor or urgent care provider. There are definitely benefits to it. It can help to relieve congestion in a short period of time. But one big problem with Sudafed is it makes your blood vessels constrict a little bit. And that's what helps up in the nose, because that's ultimately what causes you to not have as bad of a runny nose. But also that can make your blood pressure go up. So if you have blood pressure issues, it can have negative heart effects. It can start causing really bad headaches in some people. It can cause really bad sleep disturbances in some people. And the more you use it, the more side effects potential you can get from it. And the other caveat here, remember, I think a lot of people hear the word Sudafed and they think, oh, that's a great, easy allergy medication. But Sudafed is in a class of medications that are amphetamines. And let's not forget that another reason why they moved Sudafed behind the pharmacy counter is because people were buying Sudafed and they were engineering it to be meth. So that was like a component that they were putting into certain, recipes for meth. So, and that's not to say Sudafed is meth, obviously, by itself and for the right reasons in a short period of time. It can have a lot of very positive effects, but definitely not something that is engineered to be every day for weeks or months. That would never be recommended.
Perfect. All right. Ready for number two?
Number two.
And the difference in widths on the questions is a direct result of my arts and crafts skills being subpar.
Okay. I thought maybe we were getting into patient case reviews all of a sudden.
No, this is the exact same amount of question as the last one. What do you recommend to your patients who've tried varying probiotics but have not seen positive changes in their gut health? That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Probiotics, man, that is a topic that is starting to become as up and down as the studies you see out there on coffee, right? One year it seems like no one likes coffee anymore. Don't drink it, it's harmful. And the next year it cures dementia. So probiotics is in its early phases of a lot of people say, oh, this is great, you got to do it. And then all of a sudden a slew of really high level research out of like the New England Journal of Medicine will say, we can't find any solid link that says probiotics make a big difference. So you're not going to find really strong, well-engineered studies that says, probiotics can relieve all of these illnesses. They can improve your life. They're going to make you feel better. But the theory behind probiotics, I actually really like. Okay, there's good bacteria in our stomachs and in our intestines They are a normal part, what we call our bacterial flora, good flora. So we want bacteria inside of us. There's a ton of really, I mean, it helps us to be healthy. They're absolutely key. And so there is good bacteria that these probiotics put into us every day. And the theory is that you keep a really good balance of the good bacteria, and it can help to keep away bad bacteria. And you get too little of one type of bacteria and too much of a different, and it can put your body off balance. So one big caveat is probiotics aren't dangerous. Okay. You're not going to get harmed by taking probiotics. There are probably some small positive effects from probiotics. It's something you have to take every single day. This isn't something you can put a probiotic in once every couple of weeks. That is wasting your money. If you're going to do it, it is better to really have it as a part of your everyday routine. Here's a great example. There's a really nasty bacteria out there named C. diff. A lot of people they'll recognize that term. And C. diff is a bacteria of opportunity, which means a little bit of C. diff gets into your system, into your stomach and your intestines. But there's so much good bacteria in competition, the C. diff never has a chance to thrive or grow. You don't have really any symptoms from it. And then one day you go on an antibiotic. The antibiotic kills a lot of the good bacteria, but C. diff is very tricky. It doesn't respond to most antibiotics. And so you wipe out a bunch of good bacteria, and now C. diff grows without competition. And then you have a very complicated a harmful intestinal bacteria that causes a lot of problems. So the theory that probiotics keep a good balance, I think is good. Some people will go on probiotics and they say, well, it didn't help that I still have digestive issues. That probably speaks to a larger problem going on, maybe food insensitivities, whether it's to gluten or to lactose or to milk, something in the diet that's not agreeing with you, or some underlying medical problem like irritable bowel syndrome. Probiotics aren't going to cure irritable bowel syndrome. It's usually combinations of lifestyle and really figuring out where your insensitivities are. These are things that a healthcare provider can really help people to sort through. There's a certain algorithm you got to follow through to figure these things out. I think for some people, probiotics help a little bit, and that's good. That's good enough for them. But not harmful. Go for it. There's definitely good theoretical benefit from it. Nothing really solid on the research, but I think it does help a lot of people. It's but certainly not surprising that some people do probiotics and it doesn't fix their digestive health. There's probably more underlying issues going on.
I'm going to add a quick follow-up. What would you recommend to someone who's been on that and going on it and not seeing a difference? Would you just say stop? Would you say try switching to a different type?
I would say that if your goal with going on a daily probiotic was to improve your digestion health, and it didn't do anything for your digestion health, the next phase, it's a far more frustrating phase because people want to be able to take something and get better, right? But the next phase is really to start sorting through what else could be going on in your day-to-day diet that might be causing your however you're not happy with your digestion health. And the way you do that is you basically keep a food log, right? You really start tracking, all right, this is what I had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What was going on as far as cramping or diarrhea, whatever the concern is. And then you start to eliminate one thing for like several days or a week or more. And if you feel better, great. And if you don't, you go to the next thing and you start really regimenting your meals and you really try to figure out what is working and what's not. Unfortunately, most people don't have the attention span or the desire to do that. It's a lot to change your diet every week over and over to figure this out. So it's a risk versus benefit. The benefit is you could really help your digestion health. The risk is it is a nuisance and it's really difficult to do that day to day. But that's what the next tier usually is going to do. You go to a GI specialist, they're going to say, well, let's really take a look at what you're eating and try to figure out what might be causing your insensitivities in your food. But it's a hard task to start sorting through. Shopping around different probiotics, unlikely to be the answer. If you gave a reputable probiotic time, weeks, you're taking it every day and it made no difference, it is very unlikely you're going to start taking a different probiotic and it's going to solve your problem.
Got it. All right. Well, that does it for us this week, and I'll see you next week.
That sounds good. Quick shout out to everybody out there. Happy July 4th weekend coming up.
Yes.
Stay safe, have fun, see some family maybe if it's safe for you to do so. But definitely the eve of the July 4th, and cheers to our listeners on that.
I agree. Thanks, Jim.
You got it, Andrew. Take care.
Take care.